Hello folks, we continue our grand journey here in the Appalachian Mountains. Today's going to be a very busy day for me because not only are we going to be doing this thing in nature, which I'll explain in a bit, we're also going to be going to a nearby town. That will be another video because I'd like to split this against that. And I'm doing this as a video of its own because, well, it's a day trip in itself. Because I was not able to partake in this yesterday in Abingdon, why not dedicate a whole video to it today? But anyway, yeah, let me introduce to you all where we are. So obviously, like I said, we're in Virginia, the Old Dominion, but here in the southwestern part of Virginia, you have all these mountains, part of the greater Appalachian Mountains. I don't think one can be more in the seclusion of the mountains than where we are now. So what this long trail is called, well, I don't know the name of the trail, but we are in the Channels, part of the Channels State Forest in Virginia. So right outside of Abingdon, if you drive, I don't know, 30 minutes away, you'll find that there are these wonderfully carved trails. And these trails will eventually lead us to something very, very grand. I've heard from many sources that this area in which we're about to visit is one of Virginia's best kept secrets. And that's because when tourists go to the state of Virginia, they're either going to go to places around Washington, D.C., maybe the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area for some sun, or maybe go to some of the historical places like Monticello or Richmond. Not many people will visit for tourism southwestern Virginia, and because of that, not much is known about this place outside of the fact that there's mountains everywhere. But as you know, we do things differently here on the Coverage Project. We go to the places that aren't so known, and that's why we're here today, to visit the Channels of Virginia. Because it takes a few miles on this trail just to get to the main attraction, I brought with me my Eastern Ohio walking stick. You've probably seen this star from a video called Mount Monadnock, when we climbed that mountain in New Hampshire on our New England excursion. I used this baby, and it served me well for a lot of balance. So I figured these are some steep trails, might as well use this. Helped me last time, might help me today. Once again, shout out to the nice guy I met at one of those Eastern Ohio campgrounds who made this for me. Carved all the wood off of this stick found on the ground and used some sort of chainsaw to carve these indentations. So overall, I like to use this when I'm on long natural hikes. Oh, check that out. Now that's just a beautiful sight of the valley below us. We're quite high, higher than most places around here in elevation. It takes a while just to get to this Channels area. Maybe a reason why it is so hidden. It's hard to access it. Yeah, if I did this yesterday, I don't think I'd be back until late into the night. Wouldn't have been very fun trying to come back in the dark. You never know what creepy creatures come out of the woods here in the Appalachian Mountains at night. Wouldn't want to mess with that. Looks like we are off the stone pebble path and now onto like a dirt clay path. I'm honestly a really big fan of this trail. With all the scenery around us, the thick trees, the tons of leaves around us, it just really makes you feel like you're going through the heart of the Appalachian Mountains rather than just some designated trail for everybody to walk through. This really feels like a hidden gem. Not to mention just the steep grade, topography. You're really seeing firsthand the mountains, the valleys, the ups and downs of these mountains. It's a really cool sight. So we're almost to the top, thankfully. I'm fatigued, tired, running out of water, but it's all right, we're not quitting. But I also want to shift your eyes to the nature surrounding us. Look at these beautifully preserved trees, shrubs, whatever you want to call it. And it's amazing how nature can thrive when not in contact with humans. I mean, look at that. Don't you think these types of things belong in some thick, dense jungle? It's just beautiful. I think we've reached the beginning of what I wanted to show you. Let's go. So it seems like we've reached the summit of whatever this mountain may be, and on top you notice that the path is no longer dirt or small pebbles, but these large boulders. So there's a very good reason this place is called the Channels of Virginia. When you think of a channel, what do you think of? I'm not talking about the TV channel, of course. I'm talking about the waterway, the narrow passage of water where maybe boats could cross in between two different land masses. And that's sort of what the channels are, minus the water. Let me show you. Notice we just enter this crevice area, and all of a sudden you see these boulders of sandstone sitting not next to each other. They have some space, but they're not smushed all together. And look, we can walk through these. It's almost a bit of a labyrinth or a maze where you see small pockets of light, but for the most part it is this dark cave-like system. Oh man, this is so cool. See, now this is what I'm talking about. There's like 20, 30 feet of rock canyon above us. Yeah, this is real cool. Yeah, now when we're walking through this, doesn't it kind of remind you of all those pictures and any sort of media from those national parks out west in Utah, Arizona, where you see all these rock formations high above you? But yet, this is Southwest Virginia, and this is not even a national park. This is just some field of sandstone rocks hidden away in the mountains. Yeah, it's literally just a maze at this point. I don't know if I'm gonna get lost in here. I'm not sure if I know the way back. But that's not a problem for now. We enjoy this. That's a problem for later, after this video cuts out. And one great thing about this area is that, well, to give you some backstory, usually when I wear this flannel plaid shirt, I always complain that it's too hot or I gotta take it off because it's too insulating. But one, it's middle of September, the weather's cooled down a bit. Two, we're high up in the mountains and the elevation tends to decrease the temperature by a degree or two. And then third, we're in the middle of all these rocks, so when there's a cool airflow, it goes down here and breezes upon us right here in these crevices. Oh, that's amazing how there's now trees growing out of these cracks. Yeah, something I also find interesting, and I'm going to use this stick as a pointer, are all these holes in the stone. You can see it not on just one big stone, but another, and another, and another. Hundreds and thousands of years of water going through these areas, and making a mess of all these stones. So if you see this sand here, that doesn't mean we're close to a beach. We're actually far from a beach, if that wasn't obvious. But the sand that falls down here and is just deposited and sits here comes from this, because all these rocks are made of sandstone. So all of this right here, that's what happens when this layer of moss and whatever green stuff is taken off and you're just left with the bare rock. Now this is just some geologic beauty all around us, this whole thing. Definitely worth the 3-mile hike up here. It's a steep one, but you'll get these beautiful sights that you can't find otherwise, unless you do the hike. I'm having a blast here, and you all may just as well. I'd say there's 3 criteria in order to really enjoy this place here. 1, you gotta have a love for the outdoors, a love for nature. 2, you don't mind strenuous exercise, the big hike up. It's very long, very steep. And 3, you gotta not mind precarious claustrophobic spaces. I mean, look at where we are now. We're under 20, 25, 30 feet of rock. Some rocks don't look like they're all too secure, like that one. So, you get what I mean. You gotta be open to a few things, but overall, if that's fine for you, you're gonna love this place. The channels of Virginia. Well, as I said in the last video, today is a very, very busy day for me and for the coverage project. As I said yesterday, I'm not only here, but I'm also going to be in a place today, later, for another video of its own. So that means, as much as I'd like to stay here and just wander these endless maze-like caverns, we gotta get going. I gotta walk 3 miles downhill, get in my car, go to the next place, and shoot a whole nother video. So to close this off, to conclude, the channels of Virginia are an amazing place for nature lovers, and it's a shame it's so tucked away in the mountains, and it's so relatively unknown compared to the likes of these other national parks all over the country. So yeah, this is quite a fun place. So, surrounded by all these sandstone rocks of the channels of Virginia, holding a walking stick in my hand, and having the desire to have good enough balance to walk over these limbs of the trees and other stones, more travels to come. I will see you at the next location later today.